If Republicans today were not willing to use budget reconciliation and depart from appropriations in order to pass a funding bill that would restore funding to ICE and CBP, then what would happen is my Democrat colleagues would be able to achieve what many of them have held for a long time as their objective and have publicly stated was their objective, and that's to defund immigration enforcement, border enforcement, and to abolish ICE. That's effectively what would happen if Republicans didn't act using budget reconciliation to fund ICE and CBP. And that would send us back to the dark ages, to the 4 years of open borders and the unprecedented lawlessness and chaos and crime, with people and crime and gangs and drugs pouring into our communities, into our states, throughout our entire country, jeopardizing the safety of the American people. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone at this point in this country that that is the stated or unstated goal of some of my colleagues. And certainly it is the well-articulated and cited objective of the left. And quite frankly, a lot of this shutdown and a lot of this obstruction is really the Democrat Party pandering to the left. But what would happen is the same thing that happened for 4 years when we had a commander-in-chief who refused to uphold his sacred oath to enforce the laws. He refused, with Democrat control of Congress and the White House, refused to enforce the laws and secure our sovereign border, and basically surrendered our sovereignty and safety to the paramilitary terrorist drug cartels on the other side of the border, who were glad to make more money off of trafficking people than they did drugs. And we had, as a result, we had a complete meltdown in states like Texas, who spent billions of dollars and were completely overwhelmed. It's almost unfathomable today to think about it, Madam Chair, because we have a daily apprehension number at about 196. But the average illegal crossing or apprehension under the Biden-Harris administration was over 5,000. And I assure you, we would repeat that, and it would be disastrous if we didn't do the right thing, if we didn't govern our great country, if we didn't open up the people's government and fund the important offices of ICE and CBP. For 76 days, our Democrat colleagues held hostage the American people's safety and security. They held hostage the hardworking people at the Department of Homeland Security. It wasn't just ICE and CBP. We were completely dark at Homeland Security. We didn't have the safety protocols being administered by TSA. We didn't have our Coast Guardsmen keeping watch to prevent a terrorist attack at our ports. We didn't have CISA agents preventing an attack on our critical infrastructure. And of course, we didn't have ICE and CBP functioning to enforce laws and to secure our border. That is the dysfunction we have been dealing with, and we just said enough's enough. Okay? We were sent here by the American people who gave President Trump an overwhelming victory. Every swing state, the popular vote, the electoral vote, gave us unified Republican leadership in Congress. And the number one reason they did that was to restore the rule of law and to put the American people's safety and security first. And that's exactly what we're doing today. in spite of the obstruction. And listen, your granddad and my granddad taught us the same thing. If somebody tells you what they want to do and who they are, believe them. And for years, we've been hearing this incendiary and dangerous rhetoric that ICE needed to be defunded. Governor Tim Walz said that ICE officers are an actual threat. These are the people risking their lives to defend us, to protect us in our communities. That ICE was a threat to the public. Governor Pritzker said ICE was turning the country into Nazi Germany. Chuck Schumer said ICE doesn't belong in our neighborhoods. Senator John Hickenlooper said that ICE was a reign of terror. All of this, while the risks have increased because of the shutdown, we have an 8,000% increase in threats to the lives of our ICE agents and Border Patrol agents. A 1,300% increase in assaults. And these are the dangerous games that my Democrats are playing. To obstruct the president so they can go brag as they pander to the left. But again, the reality is it's a de facto defunding of law enforcement and abolishing of ICE. And we will prevent that today because I'm confident that my friends in the Republican conference will do the right thing and put the American people and their safety first.